Hi, welcome to Crisco's Corner. Proud to live in the greatest country in the world. Unfiltered opinions, no PC discussion here. Agree, disagree, hate it, love it, it's all good. Sit back and enjoy some unfiltered commentary. We discuss politics, culture, interviews, and more. Your comments are always welcome. Please help the channel by hitting that subscribe button. Doesn't cost a thing. And as always, thanks for your support. Hi folks, welcome back. You're not going to believe this one, but it's the real deal. Right up here in upstate New York where I live at Cornell University, just down the road in Ithaca. I live in Binghamton. We refer to Ithaca around here as the People's Republic of Ithaca. So let's actually read the story. Cornell vaccine mandate only applies to white students. Police violence against blacks may contribute to feelings of distrust or powerlessness. What the F does that have to do with a vaccine? One of the amazing things we learned in 2020 is that the novel coronavirus can infect people who attend Black Lives Matter protests. That's science. In fact, the CDC, signed by several hundred employees, the federal CDC, said that Black Lives Matter protests are more important to combat systemic racism than catching the coronavirus, which has killed 300,000 people so far. This is how the ideology has twisted their brains. Apparently, the seasonal influenza is even more considerate, at least at Cornell University. The Ivy League school offers a race-based exemption from new mandatory flu shot, requiring only white students to get immunized before returning to the area. Cornell started requiring flu immunizations this year for all students studying in Ithaca, not just those attending classes in person, enforced through the Behavioral Compact. Jesus. I mean, this is unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's not to protect students from the flu, the frequently asked question reads, but so that medical services and other support resources can be fully available to serve students who may be exposed to COVID-19. An infection, by the way, it says that threatens very few of them. Wow. And Ithaca is a beautiful area. It really is. Upstate New York's beautiful. It's just too bad it's connected to New York City. You know, I'll tell you what. These progressives and these Democrats in the House want to make a state out of Puerto Rico. Do it. I'll go along with it under one condition. We do a trade. You make Upper New York State separate from New York City and call us Upper New York, just like West Virginia separated from Virginia during the Civil War. I'll make a trade. Make Puerto Rico a state. Make upstate New York a separate state. I'd do that in a second. The Cornell page I'm sorry. I'm going to have trouble reading this without laughing. Especially for students of color. Highlighted by campus reform, explains why it's giving a pass to non-white students. All right, here we go. And I read through this earlier, so I know what stupidity is coming. We recognize that due to long-standing systemic racism and health inequities in this country, individuals from some marginalized communities may have concerns about needing to agree to such requirements. Taking a frickin' flu shot. For example, historically, the bodies of the black, indigenous, bodies of black, indigenous, and other people of color have been mistreated and misused people in power, sometimes for profit or medical gain. Yeah, in Chicago, in the early 1900s, there were signs at hotels that said, no dogs or Irish allowed. So Irish people now have been systematically dumped on through prejudice and racism. So everybody that's O'Halloran or anybody with Irish descent now has a claim. Jesus. It's understandable that the current compact requirements may feel suspect or even exploitative to some BIPOC members of the Cornell community. How? How are they feeling suspect? Additionally, recent acts of violence against black people by law enforcement may contribute to feelings of distrust or powerlessness. Yeah, I'm sure that the local Ithaca police, as well as the campus police, beat the shit out of black people regularly just for fun. This is a very high-end school. It's very expensive. I wish I had looked up how much the tuition was per year. Maybe somebody could leave in the comments section. These are middle-class and upper-middle-class people and those lucky enough to get scholarships. These are not people that grew up in under poor and miserable conditions. Sorry, they're not. And these people that are making these rules and these administrations are making huge money. Now, this is where I get to say, as a resident of New York State, the taxes that I pay are incredibly high. To pay these morons health insurance and their pensions, they retire in their 50s, and they get full pensions, as much as their pay, sometimes more depending on how they work it out in the end. And top-notch, top gold medal, gold standard health insurance for the rest of their lives for free, which is another 30 years plus. All paid for by the chump taxpayers of New York State like myself. And they come up with this stupidity? Are you kidding me? This is nuts. While the university strongly recommends that non-white students comply voluntarily because long-standing social inequities and health disparities have resulted in COVID-19 disproportionately affecting BIPOC individuals. They will be granted an exemption if they cite their racial identity. Okay, since there's over 1,000 genders and I can be anything I want to, I'm going to identify as a, Nigerian Filipino. Do I get to be exempt from the shot now? But tomorrow I'm going to be a Irish. I'm not sure what the ethnic name for the Irish are. I'm going to be Irish. And then the next week I'm going to be, I'm going to be Ethiopian. And then I'm going to be Chinese. And then I'm going to be Korean because, except for the liberals, they think all Asians are the same, which they're not. How about the week after that? This is so stupid. It's unbelievable. Unbelievable. Cornell also offers exemptions for mandatory immunization, not just the flu, under a broader non-medical religious category. Oh, in state law. But getting such an exemption appears to be more stringent than the easy opt-out for self-identified BIPOC students. Medical exemptions require a note from the physician, physician's assistant, or nurse practitioner that specifies which immunizations are contraindicated and why and how long the medical contraindication will last. The religious exemption is personally intrusive, requiring the seeker to describe the religious principles that guide your objection to immunization. Let's see. I worship, my God, are maple trees. And there are a lot of them in the Cornell area because it's in upstate New York. And I want to be exempted because the maples are too close to the school. That's a pretty good one. And specify whether they oppose all immunizations or just specific ones. How about this? I took immunizations as I was a kid to get in school. I took them my whole life. I'm not taking them here because you guys are assholes. How about that exemption? If the letter, they must explain the religious basis that prohibits particular immunizations. Oh, so we'll take the polio, but not the COVID-19? How about whooping cough? How about measles? It's unbelievable. The BIPOC exemption only appears to apply to a flu vaccination, but it mentions no requirements such students must fulfill to be granted the exemption. They must also claim to be a person of color, a wholly subjective category, as evident by Senator Elizabeth Warren's career. Yeah, who claimed she was Native American the whole time, so she could advance herself, get scholarships, end up being a professor there, make a crap load of money, and get a really nice pension. Then she eventually went to the Senate. And then found out later that this moron had a live video going when she opened up her Ancestry.com package and found out she was it 1,024th Native American? An Indian head penny is more Native American than Elizabeth Warren. The ideological exemptions from campus COVID-19 protocols didn't start with race. Harvard created an amnesty for students who violate COVID-19 restrictions if they report sexual misconduct. What the hell does that have to do with COVID-19? Even if they don't claim to be a victim or have witnessed such misconduct. So did Minnesota's St. Olaf College. Well, that reminds me, any of you that watched the Golden Girls, remember Betty White, the character she played, she was talked about St. Olaf all the time. So it must be a real place, apparently. It's pretty obvious both these exceptions are ripe for abuse have nothing to do with science. Of course. Of course. It's about the twisted thinking of the progressives and the leftists. They've gone so far off the rails. I mean, they must just sit around the beginning of every school year and go, hey, let's, we have like 8, 10 people in a roundtable discussion. Let's think of the most batshit crazy thing we can think of. Nothing is out of bounds or improper. And they came up with this. And then one guy said, perfect, let's do that next year. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. They're simply devised to keep preferential treatment to campus constituencies feared by administrators. Yeah. It had nothing to do with science. It would surely be easier for administrators just to recognize the science of COVID-19, that college students are at low risk absent other health problems, and stop treating them like white-collar prisoners. But that would require independent thinking and willingness to relinquish control over the students' lives, traits not evident in the bloated censorship, censorious campus bureaucracy. And there you have it. Relinquish control over students' lives. This is what they do. This is what they do. That's what all progressives do. I know better than you, even though it's batshit crazy. I love this. This is a website that I've just recently come across, thecollegefix.com. I encourage everybody. I'll try to put a link in the description so you guys can look at this regularly. This is a great site. I encourage people to donate to it. You see a donate button on the top right. Well, anyway, folks, more stupidity right here in my upstate New York backyard, which makes me feel even worse. Anyway, folks, till next time, goodbye and good luck.